The morning sun had not yet risen as Qinfeng's sneakers beat a steady rhythm against the worn track. Sweat soaked through his thin shirt, dripping onto the pavement with every heavy stride. From the sidelines, a group of early rising martial arts students laughed at his seemingly useless persistence. They called him a fool for wasting time on cardio when he should have been cultivating qi like everyone else. Qinfeng ignored their taunts, focusing only on the translucent progress bar floating in his peripheral vision. He had been running for 3 years, covering thousands of kilometers for this single moment. His legs felt like lead, every muscle screaming for him to collapse before reaching the end. As his foot crossed the final line, the progress bar suddenly flashed a brilliant, blinding goal. A mechanical voice echoed directly inside his mind, announcing the completion of the hidden quest. The ground beneath him seemed to dissolve, replaced by a vast, swirling nebula of stars. Looming out of the darkness was a colossal bronze structure that defied the laws of physics. This was the Chaos Pagoda, a divine system designed to forge the ultimate martial god. Qinfeng landed on a stone platform, looking down at his hands, which were now pulsating with raw energy. A screen appeared, informing him that his current qi and blood level was abysmal compared to the trials ahead. To survive the first floor, he would need to hunt the creatures dwelling within this pocket dimension. A low growl vibrated through the floor, making the stone tiles beneath his feet tremble. Out of the shadows emerged a grey wolf, its eyes glowing with a feral, murderous hunger. Qinfeng realized he had no weapon, only his bare fists and the stamina he had built over 3 years. The beast lunged forward, a blur of grey fur and snapping jaws that aimed straight for his throat. Qinfeng's instincts kicked in, his body moving faster than he ever thought possible to dodge the strike. He realized his daily running had given him a level of agility that far surpassed normal humans. The wolf skidded on the stone and turned back, snarling with even greater fury. Qinfeng didn't run away this time. He stepped forward, meeting the beast's gaze with iron resolve. He threw a heavy punch, his fist connecting squarely with the wolf's snout with a sickening crack. The wolf was sent tumbling backward, its physical form beginning to dissipate into black smoke. A notification dinged in the air, announcing that he had gained 5 points of qi and blood. Suddenly, a surge of warmth flooded his veins, repairing his exhaustion and making him feel stronger. Qinfeng smiled, realizing that every kill in this place would make him a master in the real world. But the system wasn't done, spawning 3 more wolves from the corners of the dark room. He dodged the first 2, using the pillars of the room to maneuver and separate them. With a swift kick, he shattered the ribs of the 3rd wolf, sending it crashing into a wall. One by one, the beasts fell, their essence being absorbed into Qinfeng's body like liquid fire. His stats continued to climb, approaching the limit of what a normal student could achieve. After the battle, the room went silent, the only sound being Qinfeng's steady, rhythmic breathing. The heavy stone door at the end of the hall began to grind open, revealing a new path. Qinfeng knew he couldn't stop now if he wanted to reach the very top of the martial world. He entered a new chamber where the air was thick with the scent of ozone and copper. A much larger shadow loomed on the far wall, dwarfing the wolves he had just fought. The system issued a new warning: boss battle imminent, blood horse of the 1st floor. Qinfeng tightened his fists, his heart racing as a massive beast with flaming hooves stepped into the light. The heat coming from the creature was so intense, it began to singe his eyebrows. This was the real test of whether his 3 years of running had truly changed his fate. The blood horse let out a deafening neigh and charged with the speed of a falling meteor. Qinfeng tried to dodge, but the creature's sheer pressure pinned him against the cold stone floor. Just before impact, a new prompt appeared on his screen: execute emergency evolution. Qinfeng felt the system's emergency prompt vibrate deep within his consciousness as the beast's claws neared his throat. He slammed his mental intent onto the confirm button just as the air pressure from the strike began to bruise his skin. A sudden surge of scorching heat flooded through his veins, forcing a muffled scream from his gritted teeth. The kinetic energy from the evolving system created a shockwave that blasted the attacking beast backward into the gloom. Qinfeng collapsed to one knee, gasping for air as the notification of successful integration scrolled past his vision. He realized that brute strength alone would never be enough to survive the increasingly lethal floors of the tower. After a brief rest, Qin Feng re-entered the trial to face a new opponent, the Tier 2 Blood Horse. The massive stallion appeared from the fog, its skin the color of dried gore, and its eyes burning with infernal fire. With a thunderous neigh, the beast charged at a speed that blurred the very air around it. Instead of dodging wildly, Qin Feng tracked the rhythmic movement of the beast's powerful front legs. He waited until the last possible microsecond to pivot his body on the balls of his feet. He slashed his blade across the blood horse's flank, drawing a spray of dark digital blood into the air. However, the beast was resilient, kicking its hind legs back with enough force to shatter boulders. Qin Feng took the blow on his forearm and felt the bone groan under the immense pressure of the impact. He realized he needed to use the beast's momentum against it rather than trading direct blows. As the horse prepared for another charge, Qin Feng lowered his center of gravity and centered his breathing. The blood horse screamed and lunged, its flaming hooves turning the ground beneath it to molten glass. Qin Feng lunged forward, sliding beneath the beast's belly while delivering a lethal upward thrust. The blood horse dissolved into a cloud of experience points, showering Qin Feng in a rain of golden light. A notification pinged, vitality increased by 5 points, combat mastery level up. He knew there was no time to celebrate because the next challenge was already manifesting in the center of the room. From the green light emerged the golden-back mantis, a creature known for having blades sharper than tempered steel. Before Qin Feng could blink, the mantis disappeared and reappeared only inches from his face. He raised his sword to block, but the force of the strike sent him flying across the arena like a rag doll. He crashed into the ground, coughing up blood and feeling the strength drain from his limbs. Its speed is based on high-frequency vibrations, Qin Feng muttered to himself as he watched the mantis's wings twitch. He decided to stop relying on his eyes and instead closed them to feel the shifts in the air currents. The mantis lunged again, but this time Qin Feng felt the vibration in the air before the strike landed. He stepped into the mantis's blind spot using a fluid movement he had practiced thousands of times on the track. With a roar of effort, he unleashed a flurry of strikes against the creature's vulnerable joints. The golden-back mantis screeched and fell, its massive body shattering into green crystals. Qin Feng felt his chi and blood levels skyrocketing, his muscles knitting back together stronger than ever before. He checked his stats and saw that he was now only a few points away from the Meridian opening stage. "If I can just conquer one more floor, I will finally be a true martial artist," he whispered. He spent the next few hours training his footwork within the tower's gravity-defying environment. His movements became more efficient, shedding the wasted energy of a common student. Outside the tower, in the real world, Qin Feng's physical body was radiating a faint heat that melted the snow around him. A group of passing students noticed the phenomenon and stopped to whisper in confusion. Among them was the class bully who narrowed his eyes with a look of pure jealousy and suspicion. Inside the pagoda, Qin Feng reached the door of the final trial for this level. As the gate groaned open, a massive shadow loomed over him, far larger than anything he had faced before. The system interface suddenly flickered red, displaying a warning message that chilled his blood. The creature spoke in a voice that resonated through his very soul, questioning his right to enter. Qin Feng gripped his sword, knowing that if he failed here, his mind would be shattered forever. Just as the entity lunged, Qin Feng's system screen glitched, revealing a hidden skill he hadn't unlocked yet. The hidden skill pulsed with a blinding crimson light as the system interface recalibrated before Qin Feng's eyes. He realized that the skill was called Meridian Burst, a technique that could multiply his output power instantly. As the monstrous entity closed the distance, Qin Feng didn't retreat, but instead stepped forward into the strike. With a thunderous roar, the Meridian Burst activated, sending a shockwave that shattered the beast's armor into 1,000 pieces. The creature dissolved into particles of pure essence, which the Chaos Pagoda immediately began to harvest. A series of rapid notifications flooded his vision, announcing the successful opening of his first major meridian. Qin Feng felt a surge of warmth flowing through his limbs, far surpassing any strength he had ever known. The system calculated his chi and blood levels, which were now skyrocketing past the requirements for the elite camp. It was time to return to the physical world and face the judgment of those who had doubted him. He woke up in his modest room, the morning sun streaming through the window to signal the day of the selection. Every step he took toward the school felt lighter, as if the gravity of the world no longer applied to him. At the school gates, the usual bullies were already gathering, unaware of the monster walking among them. Qinfeng ignored their jeers, his focus entirely on the massive vitality testing stone in the center of the stadium. The top student, Wei, stepped up to the stone first, delivering a punch that caused the device to hum with energy. The display flashed a score of 850, drawing gasps of admiration from the faculty and students alike. When Qinfeng's name was finally called, a wave of snickering rippled through the gathered crowd. He stood before the stone, looking unimpressed by the obstacle that had intimidated everyone else. The head instructor urged him to hurry up, assuming he was paralyzed by fear. Qinfeng breathed in slowly, circulating the internal energy he had cultivated in the pagoda. He didn't use a complex stance, simply throwing a straightforward punch that carried the weight of a mountain. The impact didn't just make a sound, it created a vacuum that pulled the air out of the stadium for a split second. The testing stone, designed to withstand the hits of Grand Masters, began to spiderweb with deep, glowing fractures. A deafening silence fell over the entire school as the digital display struggled to process the measurement. Finally, the numbers settled on a staggering 4,500, nearly 6 times the score of the previous record holder. Wei fell to his knees, his face pale as he realized the gap between himself and the loser he had bullied. The head instructor stood up, his voice trembling as he announced Qinfeng's immediate admission to the genius training camp. Qinfeng simply bowed, showing no signs of the arrogance that usually accompanied such immense power. However, the test wasn't over, as a high-ranking official from the military stepped onto the field. He wanted to see if Qinfeng's combat skills matched the raw power of his vitality. Qinfeng felt his heart race with excitement, finally finding an opponent who might push him to his limits. The officer moved like a blur, but to Qinfeng's enhanced senses, the movement was as slow as a crawling insect. They traded blows across the stadium, creating sonic booms that rattled the windows of the school buildings. Qinfeng realized he didn't even need the Meridian Burst to keep up with the professional soldier. With a swift counter-sweep, he sent the officer tumbling backward, ending the duel in seconds. The officer stood up, dusting himself off with a grin of genuine respect for the young prodigy. Qinfeng turned to his fellow students, his presence now commanding the attention of everyone present. He had proven that talent isn't just born, it is forged through the miles one is willing to run. His mother watched from the crowd, tears of joy streaming down her face as she saw her son finally recognized. The Chaos Pagoda within him hummed contentedly, acknowledging that its master had finally stepped onto the path of gods. As Qinfeng walked toward his new future, the legend of the running god was officially born.